right now. So anyways, just wanted to give you a heads up, but feel free to hop in and ask questions. Okay. So a couple of things of just kind of getting started. If you're getting started on your products, are you new to starting on products? And if you're able to turn your cameras on to like raise hands or hop in the chat so I can see, that will help me to help answer questions. But if you're new or you're just curious on how to help troubleshoot for other people, that's what I'm here for. And so, Christy from Lauren, yay! Oh, good to meet you, Christy. Okay. So welcome to my messy life. So a couple things is really, I always try to let people know when they're getting started on products is that it's going to take time. This is not a miracle fix. This is not a diet pill. This is not a medicine of any kind. And so like the expectations should be completely different for that. Because when you think of a medicine, it's like chemically changing things like quickly within 45 minutes, right? But if you're actually getting to the root of the issue, it really should take some time. And not saying you can't notice like pretty solid benefits here shortly just because of putting good nutrients in your body. But also remember it takes 90 days to regenerate cells. And so I am very clear on my expectations with people when they get started. Like if you're here for it and you have health goals you want to achieve, you better be planning on being consistent for at least the first 60 days. But 90 days is really where cells regenerate. And so that like 3 to 4 month section is the sweet spot of really noticing a lot of really fun improvements. Now it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't mean you got to wait until month 3 to feel something great. And we're teething, by the way. so I'm just gonna be messing with them. But that being said is that when you're thinking about that, the things that are very common to notice improvements in first are like energy, mental clarity, brain fog, better sleep, less cravings, those kinds of things. And then it just kind of like improves from there. It can be digestive systems too. But if you guys are not familiar with the Live It, Love It, Track It sheet, let me know. Or let your person who helped you get started know. Because we can copy and paste it into threads or into our message with you guys. Because what it is it's a 2-page sheet. I give it to every single person when they get started, as well as like a get starting regiment. And I go through the products with each person because everyone's different. And so that Track It sheet is nice. That first page has a place for measurements. It has a place for weight, and I'll get to that in a minute on a soapbox. It's got that, and then it also has a place like make sure to take before pictures. And I always tell people take pictures of front, side, and back in something you're comfortable in. I don't say I don't prefer like bra and underwear, like actual like clothing, so that you're okay with if you do decide to share, then you're not going, well, gosh, I wish I would have done something that I would have felt okay with sharing. And so, but just something, because it's really proven, like even in therapy, that mirror therapy is so important. Because it's different when someone tells you what they see in you on improvements versus what you see in yourself. And since you look in the mirror every single day at yourself, you don't really notice like all the changes that everybody else does. But if you take a snapshot of now and 30 days from now, you could easily point out like less wrinkles and less, more, less like movement in your clothing, like all the wrinkles that are in the clothing, it's a lot looser. You can tell like lines, that kind of stuff. And you can even tell like puffiness in cheeks and necks and arms, those kinds of things. And like less circles, those kinds of things. So you'd be surprised at what you find. So I always challenge people to do that. The reason why I tell you about a soapbox of weight on a scale, scales are really only good for people with congestive heart failure. It's really important that they measure that daily because it doesn't matter where the weight comes from. It's the pressure on the heart. That's the only thing that's important there. The reason why I'm not really a big fan of weight is, sure, you could have a starting weight, but I'll tell you, some people can actually weigh more when using Plexus than weighing less, simply because their inflammation's down, they're more active, and they gain muscle. Well, muscle weighs more than fat. So it's not fair to like look at a scale and go, oh, I gained 10 pounds. Well, but you feel better, you look better, you're thinner, and you're able to do more. So it really is that like societal shift on what the heck a scale means. And so so I would just say like encourage your people, take it with a grain of salt of exactly like what that means. Like I tell people, if you're gonna weigh it and then hide that thing or set it on fire. I really don't care. But do measurements, because measurements are where it's going to be. You will notice inches are lost significantly. And there is actually a really good picture of a sideline sister that she's holding like 7 pant sizes way too big for her. And she weighs the exact same in each section, but her inflammation is significantly down. And so that just gives a testimony to that. The other piece, which is like the second page on that Live It, Love It, Track It sheet, is it has 2 grid boxes. One is internal benefits and the other one's external benefits. And the thing I love about that is it gives people an idea of what to look for. Like, how many times do you go to the person and say, so how are you doing? And they're like, I mean, I like, should I be feeling something? I don't know. And you're kind of going, okay, here's the boxes. It says energy, cravings, digestion, brain fog, all the things that are internal. And then it has on the side, day 3, day 7, day 14, day 30, And so they can check in with themselves of like, this is a way to view like what to look for. So like, while you may not think like, well, I didn't really get all jittery and zingy. Well, good, because you weren't supposed to. The idea is like, I didn't nap all day. I didn't need a nap all day. I can stay awake longer than my 3 kids. I can get up earlier than them. I can go to bed later than them. And I'm not yawning throughout the day. And I'm not hoping to put them to bed because I'm exhausted. That is the difference. It's a clean energy that lasts forever. And when I go to sleep, I can go to sleep in about 15 minutes from taking ProBio 5, like clockwork for me. And so the things that I notice is I get restful sleep. I wake up before my alarm goes off and I'm ready to go. And, and so those are the things that I would say, like, to keep a lookout for. So if they have an idea of like what to notice, then they're going, oh, okay, so I'll keep an eye out for that. So when you check in with them, you go, okay, hey, how's your track it sheet? Like, what are you noticing improvements in? This, and this. And there's an external benefits. That's the other grid. So like wrinkles, dark circles, freckles, skin color changes, psoriasis stuff. Like if it's less scaly, if it's smoother. Like one thing that was really weird that I noticed, which I thought it was weird because I never had thought of it before, but I used to, like, I'm the girl that doesn't use 7 products for my face. Like you're lucky if I wash it with a washcloth. And so I would take the Pampers Pure Wipe and I would wipe it across my face and then I would do the serum. Well, then the cleanser came out. So I do that most of the time. But when I would use a wipe, like I had less friction on my face. It wasn't like as rough and bumpy when I wiped across. It was really weird. And so just the things that you kind of notice that's how you can relate there. Now I was going to say, I kind of have the chat up, but do you guys have any questions so far or thoughts? You lost skin tags. Nicely done, sis. You're going to have to give us what did you put on it?
They just fell off over time.
That's awesome.
And I want to say my mom had the same thing happen too, but I think it's one of those things. I looked into it further after mom mentioned that she had the same thing happen. Yeah. And I think it's one of those things. It's like a sign of the yeast overgrowth within your body, that excess sugar. And so kind of like acne, how it can be a sign. And so I think it's one of those things that as just triplex helped, then awesome. I lost those too.
That's super cool. Yeah, I was curious if you put like body cream or something on it. Can we get this from White? Oh yeah, for sure, Mary, you totally can. Let's see, Mary. Okay, you're with Casey. Casey, do you know where the Live It, Love It, Track It is I'm telling you about? No? Okay, let me tell you. It is if you do a dashboard, and then do training center, and then the new ambassadors start here. Day 2, number 5. Not like I'm numerical, but it's, yeah, it is virtual office, and it's dashboard, or, training center. And then it is new ambassadors start here, and then day 2, number 5. And if you're a super new, you won't have access to the virtual office. So that's going to be whenever you start doing referrals, then you can totally have access to that. But we are totally able to get you guys connected with that sheet. That's super important. Let's see. Okay, Molly, good question. Oh yes, BioCleanse. We need to talk about this. So BioCleanse is the one thing that I tend to adjust on people the most. And yes, short answer. Yes, you can totally take 4 BioCleanse a day. Honestly, there are people that are seriously wrecked that need to take up to 10 to 12 just to get going, because they've been on so many pain meds. They're on a ton of different things. Their medical list is longer than the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they've got to get stuff moving. And so it's totally, I know, it's totally okay. But the thing is the way I try to tell people is that when your goal, everyone's goal is 2 to 3 bowel movements a day. And even as an athlete, I only went once a day ever. And then when I was pregnant, then I struggled like big time with constipation because of my hormone changes. And hold tight. I'm getting some spit up. Sorry. There we go. But anyways, so the 2 to 3 times a day, your bowel movements, you kind of want it to be where it's like peanut butter paste, or something like that. But here's what I'll tell you, is that when I started, I was so constipated. I was taking 2 BioCleanse in the morning, 2 in the evening, and I understood the concept of the 2 to 3 times a day. I really didn't care on consistency. As long as it's not water, I really don't care, because I was feeling better. And so if it's not watery and you're not straining, don't worry about it, because my first 2 to 3 months, it was like a dumping phase. Like I didn't have to rush to get there, but when I went, there was no stool consistency to it. It was pretty much just open and let go. And for me, I felt better. I did not care. And I knew that it was a part of the process to get all the junk that was in my body out, because I just felt terrible. And then at months 3 to 4, that sweet spot of that new cell regeneration, I was feeding all the good nutrients. That's when my stool started to harden up enough to where it was that paste. And it was like clockwork at that point. I didn't have to worry about it at all. And I think it was month 6 or so, I then started to notice that I actually was starting to go a few more times, and it was a little bit looser. Bless you, son. It was a little looser. And so because of that, I backed off 1 BioCleanse. So I knew that I could taper my regimen based on what I needed. And then when I got pregnant with this kid, there was a period of 2 or 3 days where I was really stopping up at even 4 in the 3 in a day. And so I had to kind of up it to get ahead, to go back to the bathroom. And then I could kind of go back on another regimen. So while I was pregnant, I pretty much stayed the first couple days, I was at 6 BioCleanse. And then once I got to go again, then I had it at 4 steady for the rest of my pregnancy. And then when I was in the hospital delivering, because he was a C-section baby, and they still pump you full of pain meds anyways. I had either 10 or 12 BioCleanse that first day or 2, because I refused to, I already knew I was going to do some Percocet because I had to, but I refused to use stool softeners or anything else there. And my OB, she knows all the Plexus products that I'm on. She approves every single one. I asked her going into delivery if that was okay if I used them, and brought them in. She said that was fine. And so, but the biggest thing you got to be aware of is if someone is not going regularly, you always have to check water intake, and you always have to check the amount of BioCleanse they're using. And the reason I say that is some people will get so stopped up because it's not the BioCleanse that's causing the issue. The ProBio 5 is kind of like trying to kill off all the bad stuff and put it into the GI tract. And then the BioCleanse is trying to grab all the little nitty gritty pieces that are hiding and then try to flush. And it's just like in a toilet. If you don't have enough water, it's like wet cement hanging out there. There's nothing to flush it with. And so they could feel like more bloated. They could feel more full. They could feel like they haven't gone in a little while. And it's because they probably don't have enough water intake. And so I always ask, like I ask each person, how much do you weigh? And when they say 200 or whatever, for love of, of easy of math, is if they're 200, it should be half their body weight plus an extra 20. So it should be 120 ounces of water per day, period. And it can include like the pink drink or the active. Those are still water-based. So that counts. And I usually do those in 24 ounces. So I tell people, like, if they struggle, like, make sure to split up their active and slim. It makes them have to get at least 48 ounces if they do 24 a piece. So that's like it's not half, but it's getting there, and then somebody else that she was like, man, that's going to be really hard to get in. And she's like, I'm working on it. And she had 70 ounces and she was like 180 pounds or so. Still should be getting like 110 ounces of water. So it's not close. Like, you got to really like look to see how much water intake you really are getting. But the thing I told her is, go into your alarms and start setting like little alarms for yourself every couple hours, like from the moment you get up in the morning to like every couple of hours, and like put words of affirmation in there. Like, you're a boss, keep drinking, you're almost there, you can do it, like, cause then you can actually like have some motivation to want to do it. And that when you drink, you just don't fight it. You just drink then, and then you're good to go. And then you're not trying to like catch up on the tail end of the day, drinking 50 ounces of water, trying to pee 50 times in the night, So that is, that's usually pretty helpful. So, okay, Molly, I'm catching up with your notes. Yeah, no kidding. Normal. I hear you. Let's see. Oh, and also too, something you can think about on BioCleanse is if they are noticing like an increase in bloating, and they're pretty typical of like the 2 to 3 times a day normally, I would only start them with maybe half or one. And if you start it at night, it can help with the detox. But if you look in Trust Your Gut, the page, search like when to take BioCleanse, and it gives you ideas on a post. Like, hey, if your goal is less detox, put it at night. If you're noticing bloating, put it in between meals. And so like you can check timing to mess with it a little bit. But just remember, like, everybody's different. It's not that it's not working. It's find the right time that works for you based on your schedule and your bowels and that kind of stuff, and be open to communicating about it. Because again, it's just like going to the doctor's office. Like, he's not going to read your mind. He gets 3 minutes with you. So unless you're telling him what's going on, don't expect him to start changing things. So if you're gonna do it and you're gonna go for it on your health goals, you've got to communicate with whether it's your person that's like that helped you get started. Oh golly, that helped you get started, or you can friend me. That's totally fine, but I don't mind. But I would definitely keep your person in the loop so they can help you, because that's part of their joy, is to be able to help you do that. And the only way they learn is to do the same thing, right? Okay, any other questions you're thinking of? Hopefully that's helpful. Let's see, Beth, I'm gonna read your thing. Ravages. Okay, sorry, Beth, I may ask you to talk because I'm trying to connect what you're saying here. So like prior to your cycle, you struggle, and then you tried adjusting and it's still making it feel off. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Ashley and I talked last Sunday, and so last
Yeah.
Sunday we started to do both the cleanse and the
Wow.
ProBio 5 at night.
Uh-huh.
All 4 at night, and then just one cleanse in the morning.
Uh-huh.
But I would wake up kind of in the middle of the night and my stomach was just really gassy. But the gassy and bloatedness for me at the age of 49 has been happening now, like the week before my period. So
I see.
we were thinking maybe that would help, but
Uh-huh.
my bowel movements are really kind of messed up with it. So then last night I went back to my 1-in-1
Uh-huh.
and then 1-in-1 this morning, and it was more regular.
Okay.
But now I'm getting closer to getting my period. So I don't know.
Like, kind
Ashley
of
was just
adjusting.
saying probably talk to see.
Yeah.
Um, but I really feel like it's a hormone thing, and I don't know if there's any way I can avoid
Adjust.
that.
Yeah. So I would say the things I would mess with would be move the bio cleanse completely to like in between meals during the day. That tends to help with bloating. Also, if you don't have ease, I would definitely keep ease on hand. And if you're thinking hormonal issues, slim balances hormones, remember? So if you're thinking of it that way, maybe you could do like a second slim on those days. Like, here's the thing, guys, when in doubt, regardless of time of day, if you haven't gotten your stuff in before your head hits the pillow, do it all right then. Like, really, don't do active right then, unless you're trying to pull an all-nighter. But like bio cleanse, slim, all those things, I literally have drank slim right before I go to bed. Now, if you're touchy with vitamins, you may notice that you like have a boost of energy because it's just that sustainable blood sugar balance. But I will tell you, I totally have done that. And I sleep just fine. And now I could drink a cup of coffee and sleep just fine too. So like you got to know your body a little bit, but I will just say there's no wrong time to take them unless you're taking active, like after 3 p.m. and you don't want to stay up all night. But that would be how I would adjust. Beth, is I would try to do the bio cleanse like collectively in between a meal and see how you feel. Try that out. Sorry, I'm gonna bounce a little bit because he's going to sleep. But if I would try and do that, and then the other thing is that I would try a slim, or I would try ease, because ease can really help with some bloating. And so those would be like the thoughts I would have of like which one to do. Just tinker with it a little bit, and because it's not going to hurt you anyway. It's just more of whatever you're most comfortable with trying. But those would be how I would like modify, is what I would do one of those, see how you feel. And if you really like it, great, keep it. Don't mess with it any further. But if you're kind of going, I mean, it's better, but I want to see if there's something else I can do, like you could do that too. So there's nothing wrong with that.
I know Ashley kind of mentioned the ProBio 5 could kind of be wrapping me up. That's why she thought if I took the 2 of those with the 2 cleanse at night, because I was doing one of each in the morning and at night, and she thought maybe that ProBio 5. But like I said, things were going pretty well. And then that week, so maybe during that week, adding another slim would be helpful, and then spreading out, doing the cleanse during the day might kind of be good too. I could try that.
Yeah, I was gonna say just adjust based on that. And so like if you don't like the style of your stool, like it's normal for you, and which I still feel like it's easier for me to go on the weeks that I have cycles, like where I'm just going, okay, I don't need as much bio cleanse, to be honest. I actually do a little bit better. But I do notice an increase in bloating, and that's more of that like cycle thing. And so I will do ease with my slim, and I'll do it that way, because that's just, it's kind of a part of getting things through. And the slim is helping with the hormone balance, and the ease is helping to take the pressure off the PMS style. So I would try that. If you have any, I would do that. If you don't, get your perks and get ease and keep it on hand. It's really helpful, especially when you injure your back on accident. Okay, I missed somebody here. Molly, I feel like you asked a question here. Let me scroll. Oh no, Mary did. How do we know to increase amounts for each product? It just depends. Like if you feel like there's something you could benefit from, or honestly communicate. That's the first thing I would say. Communicate with Casey and or myself, or both of us, and just say, hey, like this is what I'm noticing. Do we have any way of adjusting? Because I will tell you, you're not going to know it all to begin with, and you certainly won't know it all even to end with. That's why we're all here together, is just learning. And so as long as you're kind of open to adjusting and trying other styles and stuff, then that's what we're here to do, is to help you like learn. And so when you find something you really enjoy, then you're going, oh, okay, I really like this way. Like I liked this concoction. It looked good. And so I know when this happens or whatever, I can adjust it. But and the other thing too, I'll tell you is that if you haven't ever looked on the Plexus YouTube channel, I would highly encourage you guys to do that, because you can do like Plexus YouTube BioCleanse, you know, and like learn something about BioCleanse, or go on to Trust Your Gut and learn something about BioCleanse, because they have the product info sheets there. If you look up, I want to say if you search the words product info on Trust Your Gut, it'll pull up stuff of like PDF sheets and that kind of stuff, so you can learn about it. And I was going to say, if you, Casey, do you have hands free to type? Yes. Okay. I was going to say, if you can type in that beautifullyplexus.com, it's that BEYOUTIFULLY, beautifullyplexus.com. If you search in that, it has a drop down bar, and it has really good product info sheets to kind of learn about each product. I really like that one. It's really laid out well. And so like if you click the drop down and say, click the nutrition tab. Once you click that, you can click like active or X Factor Plus. X Factor Plus is really good for you guys to look up. It's an amazing multivitamin. I literally will never back any other multivitamin but ours, for a lot of reasons. But to learn kind of where things came from, then I would click on X Factor Plus, the actual bottle that's on there. And then there's a link that says shareables. And when you click on that, it'll say like brochures, and then it'll say product info sheet. Click on product info sheet and it'll show you. Yes. Thank you, sweetie. It'll show you exactly like what's in it, what ingredients are there, why they use what they use, and that kind of stuff. Especially for people with allergies, it's good to look over it. But it's really cool. It tells you all about the aloe and the increase in absorption, tells you about the Irish coast and the trace minerals being replaced. And so that's actually how I learned about the products, honestly. Like I'm super nerdy anyways, but I just knowing that there's a resource of like, oh, so that's why it works this way. Okay. Like, so I'd encourage you, learn something new about a product each week, and especially ones that you use currently. There's nothing wrong with it. And that's how knowledge is power, you know? Let's see. Mary, you got a great little chart, Casey. You can share that. Share that great little chart. Did I miss any other questions in the thing? Sorry, my hands are full and he's falling asleep.
Hey, yeah. Kylie, will you talk about reasons to increase ProBio 5 like as a maintenance dose to be higher than 2?
Yeah. So I'll talk about like why you would increase it. And that trend, and then if you like, it's totally up to people. Okay, so with ProBio 5, honestly, the majority of people, their average is 2 to 3 a night. That's just how it goes. The ones that take 1, I will tell you, I find that they're actually more tired, and it's really just because they haven't gotten enough in it to really kick out the stuff. It just almost like increases the fog. And so, and the reason why, I mean, the whole point of ProBio 5 is it has that antifungal in it. And so it's trying to kill off all the crap that's in your body. And because of that, then you're just like kind of letting it sit there. And so if you have like 2 or 3, it kind of gives it an extra boost to get it out. And so the reasons why I would increase ProBio 5. And this is purely up to each person. Like some people want to start super slow, and that's totally fine. I'm more of a 0 to 160, like, 0.6 seconds. Like I want to get there and be done because I already felt like crap for a while. Like, I want to get over feeling terrible. And so, so I went all in with all product. Like, I mean, I started with the pink drink day 1 because I forgot all the other ones because I was managing 2 kids and I was exhausted. But day 2, because I felt so good, I was like, all right. And I did 7 products starting the next day, and I hit the ground sprinting because I had health goals and I wanted to achieve them like yesterday. So I didn't care what it took. I just did it. And so I always give people the option of like, okay, you can choose to start slow. And as you go through detox, because you will, then you have 2 choices. You can either speed it up and kick it out faster, or you can stay slow and you can ride the wave. And it's fine either way you choose, but just know, you may notice that you've got like the mild struggles for a little while. Or you can get the struggles over quicker and be done faster and feel a lot better faster. But it's totally up to you, you know. And so that's the time I'll increase ProBio 5 to like, mine's usually 2. My entire family takes ProBio 5. Even I started my 3-month-old, my middle boy, who's now almost 3, I started him on ProBio 5 and BioCleanse at 3 months old. And so, so yeah, so there's that. And then I don't typically see a lot of people that take 4. I mean, I feel like I know of 2 or 3 that take 4. And so you totally can, but the only time I do that is either increasing for detox, or if you're feeling an illness come on, or you know you're around a lot of sick people. Like when COVID first hit, I increased a lot of things because I'm in healthcare. My husband's in law enforcement. We're around a lot of people. Like we had to make sure we weren't going to bring it home, period. And so I was upping that as like our immune system base. And that really helped out. When my son had an ear infection, which was his only ear infection in 3 years, mind you, and he had 7 the first year he was born and had tubes. And so we've literally only had that one sick child appointment in almost 3 years because of plexus, and between all kids. And so they just stay healthier. We increase like the ProBio 5 and the BioCleanse if they haven't pooped that day. Or if they've had a lot of sugar because they've been at my in-laws and they eat donuts and all the things, then I'll increase that night. If I know I'm going to a birthday party and I'm going to have a piece of cake, I'll increase my ProBio 5 and BioCleanse that night. And then I put it back to what I had it as maintenance. So you can adjust it that way. You don't have to adjust BioCleanse and ProBio 5 at the same time. I usually tell people if you stay consistent with the 2 to 3 bowel movements, then don't mess with BioCleanse, just adjust the ProBio 5. Does that help? Was there any other? Okay, cool. Any other questions or anything? And I want to be respectful of our time. So, and I can't see a clock. So can someone tell me what time it is?
It's 8:08.
Okay, sweet. Let's have like 2 or 3 more minutes and then I'm going to hop off here.
Okay, I want to, I really liked what you were saying about the kids. And I told you the other day about a person that I was reaching out to. And I reached out to her and she's very interested. And she was wanting to know more about, the kids' products. And so is there a place that has more about the kids' products and how to use them and what age? Because when you said 3 months and earplugs, that just...
Yeah. So the just as like the general disclaimer and liabilities and stuff, they say like don't take Plexus products unless you're on the kids line for under 18. Same thing with pregnancy. They have it of consult your doctor. They do the same freaking thing with prenatals. So don't be scared about that. It's just they don't want to be sued for something. But the other thing is there's a graphic, and if you type in believe it can happen, Karen, just remind me, like send that message into there and we can drop that graphic, because there is one that's about the kids. Like kids can take triplex. Let me just be clear there. They can totally take triplex products. And so what I will say is they have the kids drink. They totally have the kids multivitamin, and it does have a probiotic in it. However, the thing that I noticed is most kids who are constipated, they don't have time for X Factor kids to work to help them poop. Like I know that Kara's little girls take X Factor kids and they poop just fine and they take the drink. That's the one product my kids just aren't a fan of, is the kids drink, but they love my Slim, they love my Active, they love Hydrate, they love literally every other product. But it doesn't matter what way I concoct it, they just don't like that orange flavor base. And so so they are religious with the X Factor kids. They'll take the BioCleanse and the ProBio 5. I adjust it based on weight. And so like, for instance, my 3-month-old, when he started, he was probably like 15, 20 pounds, maybe something like that. And so I did half a capsule of I did like a third of the capsule of the BioCleanse to start off with, just because I didn't want it to be crampy at all. Since it's at magnesium, I want to make sure it was okay. And it wasn't too much without enough fluid. But the ProBio 5, I started with half a capsule. That was the very first night in the 3 months, from 3 weeks to 3 months, that he actually pooped on his own. And he immediately that next morning had a yeast infection, and that was exhibit A of his body detoxing from my gut health. So it wasn't that it wasn't working, it was working actually perfectly. So for people to not freak out if they get a rash or anything like that, it's actually their body detoxing from their mom's gut health, which is terrifying. But so I kind of went back to like normal mom mode, took him to the pediatrician, got the yeast cream, which did absolutely nothing. I did it for 4 days, 3 times a day, just like the pediatrician said. After the 6 types of formula, the Karo syrup, the apple juice, the prune juice, the diluting the formula, all the things, nothing helped him. And so I was like, well, this is natural and I'm doing just fine regularly now. So why not? And so I gave it to him. He had the yeast infection. I tried the yeast cream, it failed. And I said, BioCleanse is supposed to help flush out the body of the toxins. So I should just add that. So I added it, and the next day it was gone. So needless to say, I'm not going back to a pediatrician unless we really need to. And I have a place in my heart that's respect for Western medicine, but for something like that, I'm not playing games anymore. So that's kind of what I got. But the X Factor Kids is on that product info sheet on the Beautifully Plexus website, Karen, that Casey put in the thread. So go ahead and click on that and you'll find X Factor Kids. You can look up that information specific to that. I don't think they have the microbiome one, like the kids microbiome on there, but you can find it on the Plexus YouTube channel. They talk about each product that way. Anything else? Hopefully this was super helpful. It was a lot of information. Is there, okay, going once, going twice. Are you guys good for now? Okay, cool. Well, I really hope this was helpful. I am going to stop the recording here so we can save it.